Thanks to SimpliSafe for sponsoring this video.
Right off the bat, I'll show you a big screw up I've made. So you can see this bucket of paint, that bucket of paint, that bucket of paint, that bucket of paint, that bucket of paint. These right here, these buckets are $40 a piece. This is hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of paint that I forgot I had in here. It all froze and ruined it. So that is a quick tip to let you know. Just walked in the house and discovered that. I just roll my eyes. I've done enough of this type of stuff to not be crushed by it. So be cautious as these cold days approach. Got everything cleaned out. That is just some trash in the corner, and then the rest of that's going to stay because I need to use it. The only thing I need to get out of here is this sheet of melamine and the big window, but that's okay for right now. In the kitchen, still got the stove in here. I'm probably not going to use that, so I'm probably going to get rid of that, but that'll just get sat out on the curb, and somebody that needs it will take it. Other than that, let's go peek in the basement real quick since we can walk down there. Into the last video we couldn't. I painted myself up to this point here. That's the dishwasher. Found that on the side of the road. That was nice. Stainless steel front. Light bulb's not working in here. Nice and clean.
SimpliSafe is serious home security made simpler. All the protection, but none of the hassle, headaches, or expense of the old school brands. SimpliSafe's lineup includes sensors to cover every window, room, and door. They even have HD security cameras for inside and out, plus great extras like smart locks, video doorbells, water sensors, and more. SimpliSafe.com goes through the process of customizing your system so you get seamless protection that meets your unique needs. Systems ship direct to your door and can be installed in around 30 minutes. Your home will be protected 24/7 by SimpliSafe's professional monitoring service, ready to dispatch police and firefighters in an emergency. All this costs less than $1 per day and is contract free. You can start and stop anytime with no hidden fees. My interest in home security is simple. I have a family, and I wanted our home to have an extra layer of protection beyond my gigantic muscles and cat-like speed. The system was easy to install, requiring no experience. I had it up and running in no time, and you can add sensors to an existing system at any time. I've made 2 changes to my system. The first was additional entryway sensors, and then later a new wireless outdoor security camera. The new camera takes an already great system and extends it outdoors. The ultra-wide 140-degree field of view, 1080p HD resolution, and even a built-in spotlight add another layer of security. Using the SimpliSafe app, you're able to receive alerts and check in on your property anytime using the live view. After using a SimpliSafe system for a couple years, I don't need any convincing, but it's good to know they've been awarded and recommended by experts including PC Mag and Popular Science. They're also trusted by more than 3 million Americans. Save 20% on your SimpliSafe security system when you sign up for an interactive monitoring plan and get your first month free. Visit SimpliSafe.com/homemade-home to learn more. I did that now because once I'm under there, this is going into a tight place. The service entrance cable, so the power line from the meter box to the base, comes through the wall near where this duct is going to be. So it's just too tight up in there between the joists. Anytime you can do this, it makes it a little easier. I probably should have done it on the other one, but it's pretty easy access down there, mainly for the duct taping, but just all around. So I duct tape the actual plastic inner wire. It's plastic and wire, the inner duct, which is just black plastic with a wire coil in there to keep it shaped, and then the insulation and the foil. So this is just insulated duct, flex duct. So I tape that on first, and then I use the zip tie to tightly hold it on further, and that holds the insulation in place.
Wrapped up down here. I don't think there's anything else down here. I do need to figure out the vent for the dryer, but that doesn't need to be done for this inspection. That duct is tied in. That one was a bigger deal. I know this is a huge deal, but you add it all up. It's the up and down on the up and down the steps, figuring things out, going inside and outside, running ducts, cutting ducts, taking things apart. When you take things apart, things break. You have to go to Lowe's to get one screw, that type of thing. So everything's a big deal, and the reason I wanted to show a video like this where I'm kind of running around doing little things is just to show you how all that really does add up. You think you're just getting, oh, I need to put in one duct on the porch, but it involves going and buying the parts, which are a lot more expensive right now, running duct, cutting this piece of plywood, removing the old stuff, cleaning up under the porch where I can even do it, figuring out where the hole needs to be cut, cutting the hole, hooking everything up as you see, reassembling it, blah, blah, blah. Same thing for back in the vent in the kitchen. So right now I'm just trying to do a real quick cleanup, just a sweep up, and then I'm going to come back for the trash, which I'm just kind of piling up here and then behind the house, and then get this inspection scheduled as soon as possible. And I expect to fail. I'm not concerned with whether I pass or fail. I just need to move forward, because no matter what he says, the list of what he tells me I need to do before he passes me isn't going to be anything compared to what I've done so far. So I can get that taken care of lickety-split, hopefully. Hopefully I just don't need to undo anything major. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it'll be fine. What else did they even do? The SE cable on the outside. Removed everything from the house. That was 2 trailer loads. It didn't look like much stuff, but it was 2 trailer loads of stuff that I had to get out of here. And we'll get rid of the stove soon. But yeah, that's it. Got a few words I'm going to end this with, but that's it for the house right now.
Welcome to the end of the video, everyone. Wanted to go over a few things. Mainly it's just going to be talking about the timing of buying houses right now, and that's going to include your home or a rental property or investment property, whatever you want to do with it. Generally speaking, I think that it is a crazy time to have to buy a house you're going to live in, because you're not going to be making money on it. You're going to have a higher price and interest on a higher price, so it's just a tricky time to buy a house. But if it's what you have to do, it's what you have to do. When it comes to investment properties, I think time is your enemy with any sort of investing that you're doing, so the sooner you do something, the better. And if the price is higher, so be it. Prices are always going to get higher. So what you think of as a high price now could look like a low price to you down the road. So I think if you're looking to invest money, you don't want to wait 5 or 10 years for stuff to be, scraping the bottom. So I think go ahead, work on it, try to find a good place and buy something and just get it going. To be more specific, when it comes to buying your home, say you're just some young guy
and you're looking to buy something, you're not married, you don't have any children, nothing like that, I would probably wait if it was like home related. Now, if you were going to buy something and live in it and you knew you were going to turn it into a rental property, who cares? Just go ahead, I think, and do it. Just focus on making money and be smart with your finances otherwise and just move forward on it. I think in that case, if you don't have the pressures of the family and don't have to consider where or what kind of a place they're going to live in, lower your standards and get something on the rougher side. Maybe, I don't want to say buy something in an area you shouldn't buy something in, but you get what I'm saying. Just get into something that you can get into, make the best of it, and then move on from it when the timing is right. But if you're, I'm just going to say a guy because I'm a guy and this is the stuff I think about. If you're a guy and you have a young family and you want your child to grow up in a specific area, be in a certain school zone, whatever the case is that you want to be wherever you are, you're going to have to go ahead and bite the bullet, and you're going to end up paying too much, and it's just the way it is if that's what you indeed want to do. So I guess in that case, then you need to consider how important is it for real. Are you putting too much importance on certain aspects? At the same time, I think this stuff is really important. What schools you send your children to, and that experience of growing up in the same home or just a good place. Because you might be a situation where you currently live in a place where you don't really want them and you're trying to get out of there. And I think that is an extremely important thing. And as a parent, you're the one that already chose to be married, to have children and all that stuff. So it's kind of your responsibility, even if it's uncomfortable, to go ahead and make it happen. It's, who do you want to pay for it? You or the child? So I say it's you. So just do what you can. And I think you'll find that probably the painful decision that you have to make will end up being a positive decision down the road, and you'll end up realizing it was a no-brainer, after you've sort of moved forward. And then just, if you end up paying too much for a house, just try to pay it off faster. I say you do that no matter what. So that's that. And then as far as investment stuff goes, again, I think it's always a good time. Prices are always on an increase, and so whether you're paying a little more now or a little more later, I think you're splitting hairs because it's something that's going to make money. Now this is all sort of saying average situations. I don't mean super extreme situations where a $50,000 house is now $400,000. I'm talking where a $50,000 house is $75,000 or even $100,000. That is if the $50,000 was like a crazy good deal at the time, and maybe the highest price ever would have been $75,000 at the time, and now it's $100,000. And I say splitting hairs, but say you have a house that can rent for $1,000 a month, and you wait 5 years to buy a place. Well, that's $60,000 you missed out on, and maybe you were quibbling over a $25,000 price, purchase price difference. I hope I got the math right, but you get the idea. The amount of money you're making over time. It's kind of why it's silly that it's taken me so long to work on this house, if it was because I was trying to be cheap. So if you're trying to save money and work on something long term versus throwing some money at it as quickly as possible, every year that passes on a $1,000 house is $12,000 that you've missed out on making. So in this case, it's taken me basically 3 years to work on this house. So it's $36,000 gross that I haven't made off this house. Now it's different with this. I don't worry over that, but I'm just to illustrate it. So yeah, you just want to, I think, just move forward if it's for investment reasons. To give you an example too about the way things are, it's so like in New Year's, you heard people saying, "Oh, I'm glad 2021 is over." My sarcastic question is do you think this year is going to be any better? And do you think that because a number on a calendar changes, that all of a sudden that everything else is going to change in some strange way? So I think that what's going on now could, I don't know how to some clever way of phrasing this right now, but I think that it could make right now seem like, I guess, the good old days compared to what stuff could happen. That's not to sound crazy or anything like that, But what if I said this stuff to you 3 years ago? What would have you thought, now versus, having heard me say it earlier? And I guess I have generally said that stuff, that it's always a good time to move on things. And I think that all this stuff going on now, it's proof of it. I think some people will say this is the reason you don't do things. I mean, this is the reason you don't do something now because all the stuff's going on. Things are unsure. This is why you should have already done it, because when stuff like this happens, it's extra insurance. Any additional income you make, in my mind, is sort of it's extra insurance. And any debt you pay off is insurance. That's that much less money that you have to make some sort of a payment. And so anytime I think you can lessen the amount of money you have to make, or are able to increase the amount of money you make, it's an insurance thing. And that's where I think people are so skewed when they say things like money can't buy happiness and all that type of stuff. Well, I've seen a lot of people with money be pretty happy because they get to do a lot of fun stuff and they have things that they bought that are fun, whatever. But what I really think is the importance is the money solves problems. When problems pop up, there's not a lot of problems that throwing a ton of money at it can't solve. And there's certain times in life where it would be nice to be able to do that. That could be somebody getting sick, accidents occurring, financial pickles that kind of pop up that you just didn't anticipate, and you can help other people too. So there's always somebody around you that's in a pickle. And if you kind of have a high and mighty attitude about what you should and shouldn't be doing, I almost think you should have an obligation to make as much money as you can, because then you can use that money to do whatever you want to help other people. So that's a good comeback if somebody ever says anything to you for wanting to make money. Oh yeah, what I was going to say, when I bought the ranch house, though, it was a previous renovation you saw on this channel. It was on past family land that had been sold, and it was one of those things that was kind of like, I wish that wouldn't have ever happened. This was way before I was ever born. And so that land and a house that's now on it came back up for sale, and the owner of it offered it to my family before it was actually listed to be sold. And everybody was very interested in getting it, but the actual making it happen was tricky. And so I ended up being the one that kind of did it, but I almost backed out of it, 100% back out at the last second, but I ended up moving forward on it. The asking price, I believe, was about $160, and I ended up doing a purchase price of, I believe, $145, and then financed for like 130 some thousand or something along those lines. I'm not sure if I'm getting the numbers all right. But that's why that was such a big decision for me. It wasn't so much of what was going to get out of it. Although I did have to consider it. It's like, should I really be sentimental about land that's never been in my family during the time I was alive? Do you really own anything in general? Like, yeah, it's so easy to get twisted up on being sentimental. But I'm prone to doing it, so I have to be extra careful. And I have a family too. It's not just about what I want in this world of if you can just pick and choose everything. Long story short, though, I did it, and I couldn't believe it. The highest price I'd ever paid for anything was $15,000, and I think I said that in this video already, financed, and that was only $1,300 down on that place and a $260 payment. This was going to be financing $130-some thousand, and right off the bat, the house was going to need a heat pump, electrical upgrade, just a kind of a general cleanup with some systems upgrades, and so that was pretty serious. I think all in, I spent about $20,000 to do the closing and then to get the place fixed. But then I immediately started renting the house, and it was rented for like $1,100, I think is what it was renting for. So it had an $850 payment. But that's kind of all in hindsight. So, but coming up on it, I was like, oh man, that's a lot of money. I don't want to owe that for 30 years and blah, blah, blah. But I moved forward, I did it. And then it was so quickly, I just went, that was a great decision. Even though I don't like the financing aspect of it, I said that was a great decision to go ahead and secure this place. And because also my comfort level told me that $145 was way too much money, but in reality it was a great price then. So it's like 3.5 years later. What do you think that price looks like to me now? I mean, the price now, you couldn't buy this house in town, in a neighborhood with no, with just a little tiny yard. This house would probably cost 2 to 250, just in an average normal little neighborhood. This house is on, those of you who follow the video, you've seen it. It's got land included, and it's across. It's all part of a bigger piece of property basically now, even though it's, its own little legal description of how many acres came with it. It's all up against all family land now, so it increased that, which is nice, and it secured it in terms of nothing weird happened with it. Like, it's not it didn't get subdivided and a bunch of stuff built on it, or trailers lined up down the road, all the type of stuff that you might not want to happen right across the road from where you live. So I'm extremely pleased that I have the place now. Extremely, extremely pleased. And my biggest financial goal now is just to work on paying the house off faster. So because I bought this place, I secured it at a price that was a great price, even though it was way more than I wanted to spend on anything. It was purchased at a good price. So then it becomes, well, the cost of to the loan is the interest. So the only way you can beat that, you can't change the price, but you can change the interest by paying it off faster. And I realize a lot of people watching this sounds like elementary school talk, but a lot of people have never considered anything like this. So you can secure the place with a loan, and you can go, okay, I can make $850 a month for sure. I can do that. I make X amount of money. I can afford this. My cost of living's all this. All that added up is very manageable for me. I need to make $1,000 extra a month to put towards my mortgage payment, or however much more money you want to make. It's $10, or if it's $1,000, or if it's $5,000. I don't know. It's going to be up to y'all how much money you can throw at it. But you're going to save a lot of money on interest long term, and you are going to have the security of having something paid off. And so a lot of people will say, well, you've got this financed at this much money. If you invested the same amount of money you're putting towards this house every month towards an investment that could make 10%, and your interest rate on your house is 4%, you're losing out on 6% interest. And that's a fact, if it all goes that way. And then also, and I agree with it to a point, because I never considered that until somebody told me that, and I went, well, darn, you're right. But that doesn't come with any extra insurance. Putting a bunch of extra money into some IRAs or 401ks or some sort of other investing that you're doing, when all of a sudden you lose your job or whatever happens, that is not going to help you make your payment. You could pull money out of it, of course, but you're going to get a fine on that, whatever. All I'm getting at is, I think the place that you live, you should do everything you can to not owe money on it. If you have debt on some car and the car gets taken from you, big deal. It probably is a big deal, but I'm saying the scheme of things, big deal. Your house, losing your house because you got into a pickle that you just cannot foresee. You're not the kind of person that would happen to, whatever. Anybody could have this stuff happen to them in a situation. You could get it in a terrible car accident. You could have, your wife or your husband could die, and you just change everything in your life. Get life insurance. That's another thing that's important. All right. I've gone way too far. I hope, let's see, what was that? Almost 15 minutes of talking. I hope there was something in there. I'm sure I'm kind of leaving something out, but just to kind of wrap it up, if I was buying a house for my family, I would really be digging deep to find something that was a super good deal, or just kind of reconsider what's important to you and how you can best get it. If you're doing investing stuff, I think you're just going to have to find the best price that you can and move forward, because in the time that you will probably have to wait for things to go rock bottom, it could happen any day now. But I think it's, a couple years off. I think prices are going to go really low. Something's going to happen, and the real estate prices will crash out. So, I don't think that there's any right or wrong answer, but doing nothing, I think, is the wrong answer for sure. You should at least be hunting out some good deal. And if you find one, you find one. There's no law saying that someone can't sell you a house for less than it's worth, or less than someone else would pay for it, is the better way of saying it. Don't go out trying to take advantage of somebody who doesn't know any better. But if you go out and you find a good deal, you found a good deal, and you'll start, hopefully, making money on it. Of course, the other thing to consider too, and I really will stop talking after this, is if you buy a house right now, let's just say the house is, I don't know, $75,000 and it's rentable. It might not be perfect, but it's rentable. You don't need to do anything. Might need to go in there and clean it up. But let's just say someone's even living in it. You bought it and somebody's living in it. Now let's say you buy a house that's $20,000 and it's vacant, may even be condemned, needs a total renovation like what I'm doing on this house. Go to Lowe's, go to Home Depot, whatever, and look how much materials cost right now. So you may think your purchase price sounds cheap for a house, but your material costs are going to be so high right now. Also, everybody whines right now about getting anyone to do any work for them. So that's going to be another thing to consider. So sometimes paying more is going to cost you a lot less. It's going to save you time, and it can end up costing less money. And while everything in the house might not be new and updated, there's value in what's there. So you don't always have to think that you need to get in somewhere and bust it all up and redo it. And that's what I kind of think about the ranch house, is that it's all dated, but it was well taken care of, and everything in it works. And so why rip it out just to put a more current looking faucet in it, or a more current looking tile in it? Because in no time at all, that's going to be dated. And I'm not one of these people who harp on they don't make stuff like they used to. I just think they offer a lot more inexpensive options than they ever have, and you can also buy really nice stuff if you want to as well. But at one point, it did seem like more basic stuff. Like the faucet in this house is, I don't know, 20-something years old probably. The faucet in the house that I live in is 3 or 4 years old, and it leaks already. My bathroom faucet, that it drips. Nothing drips in this house, so I don't know. So I don't feel real pressured to want to buy some small appliances and fixtures and stuff like that are new and nice just to have them mess up, when stuff that just doesn't look as new is perfectly working. What a weak way to end the video, but that's just the way it is. I greatly appreciate you all watching. I hope you all had a at least semi-decent this past year. And while I don't think that a calendar year is going to make much difference, I think we are in for very tricky times, as we already have been. I hope you all are able to make the most of things. And it's easy to focus on stuff that does not seem as bright as we wish it would. But at the same time, there is an enormous amount of good around all of us. Sometimes that just means you have to kind of make yourself aware of it, adjust your situation that you're in, put yourself around more positive stuff. And I don't think there's any harm in kind of disconnecting a little bit and detaching from things and kind of living your own little world to a degree. I don't think there's any harm in that at all. I've done it. I go through phases of paying great attention to what's going on, and then phases where somebody tells me something that happened and I'm like, what do you mean? And then they're like, what? And they can't believe I don't know what's going on. But I'm like, but it's funny because this person, they're like, how do you not know about this? But they're all so angered about a situation that's going on, and I don't even know about it, and I'm just focused on, I don't know, working on one of these many projects you see behind me in this barn, just having a good time. So that's that. Thank you all for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Check out the links below. SimpliSafe, thank you for sponsoring this video. Always greatly appreciated. Description will have everything else you need to check out. Thanks. See you next time.